Your 30s is the most financially important decade of your life. This is the decade where your income peaks, your financial habits lock in, and your wealth really starts to compound. So if you're in your 30s and not hitting these 10 milestones in this video, you're not just falling behind, you're making your 40s, 50s, and even your 60s harder than they need to be. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that because this is the decade where small decisions turn into life-changing outcomes. Take it from me, Stickman Money, because I'm your former Wall Street professional and self-made multimillionaire. So if you want more valuable wealth building tips, hit subscribe because I'm all about the cash, compounding, assets, savings, and high income strategies. I post 3 videos on personal finance tips every week, so make sure to follow along. Let's get into it. The first milestone to hit is to make sure your net worth is at least 2 times your annual salary. So if you make $150,000 a year, you should have at least $300,000 in net worth. To calculate this, your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. Your assets include your investments, retirement accounts, and home equity. Then your liabilities include debts like a mortgage, any car loan, student loans, credit card debts, and any other loans you might have. So if you're in your 30s right now and you don't know what your net worth is, that is the first problem because you can't improve what you don't track. So start tracking this now. Milestone number 2 is something that absolutely should have been dealt with in your 20s, and that is to eliminate all consumer debt immediately. And I'm talking credit card debts, car loans, and personal loans, all of it, because this type of debt carries high interest and is one of the fastest ways to stay stuck in the rat race and going paycheck to paycheck every month. And as a reminder, most credit cards charge 20% plus in interest. That means every dollar you don't pay off is actively working against you. There's literally no single investment that single-handedly consistently beats a 20% interest rate. So before 40, absolutely make sure you are completely debt-free of high-interest consumer debt. Milestone number 3 is to build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And I want to first start by saying that I talked about this once in my previous videos as well as for those in their 20s. But for those in their 30s, I'll say this becomes even more important since many people in their 30s start having kids, buying a home, or even taking on car debt. Depending on how many dependents you have, I would even suggest 9 to 12 months of emergency fund. Where does that fund sit, you ask? Well, this should be in a high interest savings account. And to be clear, not in an investment account, not in crypto, not in your checkings account either, but in a high interest savings account. Because when life happens, things like a job loss, car issues, or an unexpected medical bill, you don't panic and go into debt to cover those bills, nor do you sell investments at the worst time. You just handle it because money was already there. Milestone number 4 is to max out your retirement accounts. Not just contribute a bit like you did in your 20s, but max them out. That includes your 401k, your IRA, and potentially your HSA. Each of these accounts above come with major tax advantages that allow you to either contribute to your investments pre-tax and/or withdraw without having to pay taxes. Because missing even a single year or a few years of max contributions in your 30s can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars later. This isn't optional at this stage. This should be automatic. And to help you understand how powerful maxing out your 401k is for even just 10 years, stick around to the end of this video because I'll leave a link to a video where I show you how maxing out a 401k for 10 years is the easiest way to become a multimillionaire. I'll also leave a link to it in the description below. Milestone number 5 is to own an income-producing asset. Because your day job alone is not a wealth-building strategy. It's just your starting point where you trade your time for money. You need something that makes you money without you actively. That could be rental real estate, dividend stocks, index funds, a business, or even a YouTube channel. The goal is simple. If your income stops when you stop working, you're not building real wealth yet. And for those in their 30s, there is still typically a tolerable amount of risk that you can take because you're still young, might be married, living with a dual income with your partner, and might not even have kids or a significant mortgage just yet. Take advantage of that flexibility while you can and own an income-producing asset before you don't have time to build one. Milestone number 6 is to have a written financial plan. I stress here that it is a written financial plan, not in your head, not something you kind of know, actually written. More specifically, you should know what you earn, what you spend, what you own, and what you owe. Collectively, what you own and what you owe is your net worth. And of course, exactly what you're working towards. I'll give you an example. I bought an investment property in Texas a few years ago, and I had a goal of paying off the mortgage of $330,000 by 2028. I budgeted how much money I make and save every month from the day I bought it and projected all the way until 2027 to determine whether this was reasonable and to keep me accountable every month. Today, I am on track to paying that off by the end of 2026. And once that mortgage is paid off, I will continue to rent out that home on a monthly basis, generating me free cash flow that will make me over $3,000 separate from my day job. So write down a plan and stick to it. Without a clear plan, you're just drifting and very likely to overspend. Milestone number 7 is to get properly insured, and depending on your life, that might actually be more important than others. Because if you have a mortgage, a wife, and kids, and maybe even an aging parent that depends on you, and you don't have insurance for anything that goes wrong, you're literally putting yourself and your loved ones at risk. Many people ignore this one until something goes wrong. By 40, you should have term life insurance, disability insurance, and umbrella insurance, because your ability to earn income is your biggest asset to yourself and again to your loved ones. Everything you're building needs protection. Don't let your net worth go unprotected. Milestone number 8 is to understand how you're taxed. And I know, this is boring one, and maybe only folks that look at spreadsheets understand this, but that's not true. And even if it were true, that does not protect you from taxes, especially if you're a high income family. High earners lose more money to taxes than almost anyone else. And most people don't even question it, as if there's nothing they can do about that. I'm here to tell you that that is not true, and that there are legal ways to lower your tax burden. In your 30s, you should understand your tax bracket, how investments are taxed, what deductions you can take, and how to legally reduce your tax bill. Because the goal isn't just to earn more, it is to keep more, and if you're giving it all away to taxes, you're making your 40s, 50s, and even your 60s even harder. I previously made a video on the exact 6 steps on how to optimize your investments if you're a high income earner, and it tells you exactly the order and strategy on investing that will help you reduce your tax burden significantly. So stick around to the end of the video for a link or go to the description below. Milestone number 9 is to define what enough looks like, because most people never do, and they just keep at the grind aimlessly. They just keep chasing more, 100K, then 200K, then 500K. And while that's technically fine, you're literally just moving the finish line without a reason. Instead, define your number that sustains your rich life. A single way to do this is take your desired annual income and multiply it by 25. That gives you your target investment amount that'll help you build your rich life. Without this number, you're running a race with no finish line and adding extra stress that isn't necessary. And finally, milestone number 10 is to build a strong network. Not just connections and acquaintances, but real relationships. Your networks determine your opportunities, your income potential, and the deals you might have access to. The best opportunities don't come from random job applications on Indeed or LinkedIn. They come from the people you know and trust you. So invest time into building relationships early in your 30s when you're still young and healthy, because just like money, your network compounds. Now that we've gone through the 10 major milestones to hit before 40, take a second and ask yourself, how many of these have you actually completed? And more importantly, which one are you behind on right now? Because you don't need to fix all 10 at once. Just pick one and focus on it this month. Remember, this isn't about being perfect, and it's not about being lucky. It's about making intentional decisions early enough for them to actually matter. Alright, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video on how maxing out your 401k for just 10 years is the easiest way to become a multimillionaire, and this video on how the 6 steps on how to invest as a high income earner. And if you want more strategies like this, remember to tap that subscribe button, because I'm all about the cash, compounding, assets, savings, and high income strategies. And I post personal finance tips weekly to help you build your rich life. See you in the next video.